Okay, უცნაურია screen share-ვა შეარებ, იმიტომ რომ host disabled participant screen sharing.
Make co-host. მე მგონი live-ში ვართ. Hello everyone. Thanks for joining and watching us again. It's me, Khadia, but this time I can say that I'm live from the DICHO TBILISI Pavilion, because today we are going to have slightly different format, Zoom meeting format, for a simple reason, as my guest is not in Georgia. But of course, we are going to have presentation in DICHO TBILISI program. So my guest is Vasil Macharadze, and the name of our presentation is Visualize the Unknown, Art, Games, Form and Medium. Hi Vasil, thanks for being with us. It's been a while since we saw each other last, but yeah, we have worked together and collaborated for the few projects.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was a long time ago. Last time when we collaborated was in the framework of Post-Digital Dreams, the exhibition project, multimedia exhibition project, and you did this installation called Look From My Perspective, right? And it was this public, VR interactive installation. It is so on topic today. In your artistic practice, you always include like a few different aspects, which are public space, public domain, and public realm, interactivity, technology, and the games, the language of games as well. And as you say, public realm and exploring and observing on this realm is one of the main topics in your office. So my first question would be such as, what are your explorations between art, public realm, and games as a language, as a form, and as a medium? And just tell us about your projects, experience, and so on.
Yeah, actually, I'm the painter. I mean, I started as a painter, and my main training was as a painter. Actually, like dealing with a canvas and paintings, and at the same time, I had this really passion for scripting, and I was always trying to bring this two different parts together, and. Finally, I came this with this more or less interactive works, and public space is a really amazing space for it, to practice some interactivity with public, and it always works, and because public space in Georgia, I guess it's a really particular place. At least it was like this, 10 years ago or 5 years ago, because we are kind of in a state of transition from we are kind of post-Soviet country, and we are transiting into a new kind of understanding, of social and culture. And it brings a lot of tension, within the public space. I mean, it's a lot of alienations, in the public space, and kind of fields, let's say, that, for example, this relation of the citizens and the public space. In the Soviet times, I think it was a bit different, because public space was somehow representing this governmental power, that was imposed on Georgia from Moscow in some way, So this relation, I think it was never so perfect, there was also always kind of some mistrust and some kind of hostility towards the public space. And I think we still have this issue, and that we still have some tensions in the public space that can be like perfectly used in a field of art. So to make it clear, like what I mean, you know, I'll show maybe one of my projects. It was like an amazing project. It was about, you know, dealing with undergoes in Georgia. Yeah, we have this like undergoes under the street as a way for pedestrians under the street. You know, it's for to make like a crossing the road like more safe. You know, but people did not really use it. I mean, they still preferred to cross the street above and to bring their lives in danger. And as we had like a lot of incidents, you know, like because of that, and because to use this undergo, it seems like more dangerous somehow, because these places are, it feel like at least some years ago, a bit abandoned, dark, and no one really wanted to go there, you know. And when I was starting with this project, I spoke with the municipality to find out why it was so dark, and it appeared that someone was like totally against these lights there, you know. Every time they installed some lights there, someone was just coming and breaking them, you know, after 1 week or so. And I decided to deal with this problem. Yeah, it's here. And so I decided to use this like light problem, this like tension between like citizens and the analog set, like with two lights, change the light from red to blue or vice versa, you know, whatever they like. So it was about, you know, when you don't have participation in something, when you don't participate in something, it's really hard to bring it's always some kind of like alienation and feeling of hostility, you know. And the participation and intervention, it's kind of like what dissolves and what we can say like appropriates this energy, you know. Its energy is there. That is really amazing. I mean, it's Georgia, I guess, really is really like rich from this point, because there are many tensions you can perfectly use. I mean, I'm totally against this, like, you know, so to say, like solving some problems with art, because I don't believe that we as individuals, you know, parts of some society can really know what is the problem there. So it's just about this tension. You know, this tension is there, and okay, we can name it problem, but you can use it, you know, and you just need to put something there and it will work.
Yeah. As a medium and as a trigger, you need just to, switcher, for example, and different kind of like techniques and so on. And then you use this attention. You kind of visualize, right?
Yeah, I mean, you use this tension to get this attention, actually. Sorry for it. So it's kind of like video piece. It kind of shows it more.
And how people, audience reacted to it? It was engaging. People really enjoyed it and kind of participated and understand what was this switcher and why it was there. So what kind of reactions you could observe and get?
I mean, when I was there during the installation part, they are pretty curious and pretty engaged in this, you know, trying to with the same interaction could be. But let's start. Okay, I will show this like as well. It was another point because
this website does not exist anymore, right? As I know.
Yes, the website and the game itself had some problems.
It's so cool project.
We bought it on a flash like some 10 years ago or something like this. And it had some problems with some browsers now. I mean, it needs to be rewritten in a different in Java or whatever. Anyway, it was also about this tension, you know, because some time before we think on this game, we started to think on this game, there was kind of like incident in Georgia, because I mean Georgia is like kind of like Orthodox country, and I can say that we are taking it too seriously. I mean we have like a lot of more or less radical,
approach.
To the religion, and we also have like this like really tough stuff in art going there, and there was one exhibition like really kind of like exposing like nudity in a kind of explicit way, like vaginas, or like it's an exhibition space and you have this nudity there. For some groups it appeared a bit destructive, a bit humiliating probably, and they just came in and they broke these pictures there, they destroyed this exhibition. So we decided to deal with this problem.
So it was in Georgia when people destroyed the exhibition, or somewhere else?
No, it was in Georgia. I don't remember the name of the gallery, but it was in the center in some gallery, and it was like really I don't remember even the name of the painter, but yeah, it was there. I mean, they just came inside the gallery space, and they just broke these pictures. So why it was so irritating? I think it's also like about having no communication, having no connection. It always brings the hostility, So we decided to make this game. Game was in one of the biggest biennale in Georgia. It's like Artisterium. The funny thing is like this space where this is happening. It's really next to church, the main church actually, like the residency of Patriarch of Georgia, and where's this like all Christian educational stuff is happening, Christian educational stuff is happening, and I mean these two alienated parties really so close to each other, it was impossible to refrain, to deal with it. So we put this like work in the gallery. So work was about the game. The game, we used like 4 porno industries like Japan, USA, Deutschland, German, and Brazil. And the game was you have to press the button and you hear the voice, you hear the voice from this like porno movie, and you hear the voice of this like most like precious moment of the human being, voice of this like orgasm, and the funny thing is like we think of this like act as really deep individual, but it is so much influenced by the culture. It's possible to recognize, it belongs to USA or Japan or German, So the game is like to hear this voice and to guess which country is it. And you have like 4 flags, and you have to push. And if the answer is correct, you have like a little part of the video, the explicit porno actions there. And you have like it in action. It was like implemented in the wall, and it was also like surprised because no one really had the aggression about this like nudity anymore.
Because it was funny and it was engaging.
It was engaging. There was like another possibility to discharge this idea of direct encounter, and yeah, people were feeling a bit feared, but no one really experienced, I think, some aggression. I did not saw it on faces, like, exposing some kind of.
So once this exhibition you mentioned got destroyed because of the context and because of nudity, like this case turned out to be funny and acceptable to the audience, right? Because you added this point of playfulness and just interaction and interactivity and the kind of the aesthetic of games. So it worked out in a completely different way.
Yes, that's probably that was a work how I came to game. I mean, I was practicing gaming. I mean, I was working as a game developer in a studio, Vertex studio. It was like we were pioneers there in Georgia, because at the time we were the only one who were working on the games. Yeah, and
this butterfly escape, right? The game
as well. Yeah, that was our first game, and I mean, it's online. You can play it, and it's free till some levels. It's like name is Butterfly Escape, and it was game like focused on the global market, not really on Georgian market. So the quality and knowledge of this, how to do, was acquiring this knowledge, was really took a lot of time, actually.
It was in back of the back 90s, right?
Yes.
Very old.
No, not really. It was like 2000.
Okay.
It's like a 3D game, and yeah, I mean, it was my attempt to bring it together. I mean, when I started to work there, it was like mainly the idea to bring together my two different strives, like art and scripting, art and programming, because they're actually really different. Like that's one hand you have like this painting. It's like something where when you're facing the canvas and you feel the smell and you are touching it, you have like totally different communication. But on the other side, you have like scripting. It's like something totally dehumanized, you can say. And how to bring it together, that's a topic, actually, because gaming in itself, it doesn't. It is like it is discipline, but it doesn't have enough of tradition, we can say, to make a culture out of it, because in order for something to become art, I think it needs some history. It needs something that already exists. It needs some change of generations. And it needs like one generation resisting something from the old generation and these conflicts, and this new, something new. It's like this dialectic between like old and new. And in game developing, it's something really new, I think. And you don't have this field, so it's like really experimental. So. And there's like another project. I'll briefly show it as well. It's like second work. Puzzle Hero is like a 3-match puzzle game. You can also like find it online. It's also like 3D. It's really.
Do you see those games, this Butterfly Escape, for example, and this one we are watching right now, as just games, or like art games? Because there can be, this distinction, like art games. What are art games and what are just games? Games in terms of game industry and video games and so on. Because, like, for example, as one of like a game researchers, like John Sharp says, we can make this distinction. Like games have very very particular and very significant aesthetic, and then we can talk art games that repeat this aesthetic, but add some critical values and contents and input and context and so on. So the aesthetic can be same, but there is some social, political, or whatever context in it.
Yeah, I mean, when you're working on a game, and especially when you're working in a studio, you need to survive in some way. You need some finance, because it's not that you can do it just from enthusiastic standpoint. You need some finance. You need to survive somehow, and you have market for that. And there are like a lot of research made within this market, and you have to take your orientation on a kind of like particular groups which you are targeting. For example, like women above 40, men above 40, like for kids, or whatever. There are big kind of like sub divisions in this market. And you have really kind of like a lot of experience in this, like from the market point, successful games, not successful games, and and you are really limited. You cannot really do much art there.
Yeah, but you have also done like art games, I would say. For example, The Way to Buchenwald, Treadmiller. Like, it's not a game, but it has this gaming part in it. Like, The Way to Buchenwald is very emotional and intense work, I guess, that use the language of game and the medium of game in general.
Yeah, it's another game. It's like I came to this actually. I mean, from the art, like as I mentioned, it was like to bring games to art, but it's happened the vice versa. I brought the art to games. It worked better for me. So it's like, it's game. We can try online, and it's Unity engine. It's really nice engine because it doesn't need much think and much know how. And I think it's like perfect platform for artists to work on the interactive stuff. And as a game, it's like about a Buchenwald. really heavy topic,
Yeah.
Like about this like history of it, and you have like this culture stadt, culture stadt. Environment, you have like in per 100 meters like Buchenwald there.
So Buchenwald is a memorial from Second World War, right? It was a concentration camp.
Yeah. That was a really terrible place. Yeah, that's true. But now the relation to this like Buchenwald, it's I mean, I was working a lot on this like idea, what to do there. We had this topic. I was studying at the time at the Bauhaus in Weimar, and we had this topic, to deal with this Buchenwald. And so it was kind of like obligatory topic in a way. And what can be done there, without making this statement, good, bad, It's always like hard thing for art to escape this kind of like, you know. So, but any other work or any other standpoint, you know, besides this good and bad, could be a bit irritating, you know, for people, because it's like really painful topic for people here. So I try to welcome this like way, and how they see this way, you know, like, because I can imagine this way like in in 40s, like, you know, people traveling this way and what they would experience, and what people experiencing now, you know, and mostly they are on the handies playing some games. So it was like what triggered the idea of this game. So you have like this road, and you have like this navigation kind of weapon.
Nächster Halt, Tbilisi.
So it's a mobile game, so you need your smartphone.
You don't need really your smartphone. It's like you can play on smartphone, you can play on a PC, on laptop, whatever. You have this road, and you are passing this road, and you are shooting this like targets. And sorry, it's too loud. I don't.
No, it's not too loud.
Okay.
So it's the way. Okay.
Because I can control the voice. So the point is like you have to cross this road like without striking these middle lines in between. So when you strike the middle line, your life goes down. But if you don't, your life goes up. No.
And this road, we are, I think now, goes to this Buchenwald Memorial, right?
Yeah, it's a road from Weimar to Buchenwald.
Okay.
It's the original.
Okay.
And you don't have to strike the cars. If you strike the cars, you're losing. Yeah, I mean, you know, this topic is so heavy, and the idea was also like kind of like irresistible to make the game this topic, but you know, make game on this like tragic history. It's like a bit not really appropriate from modern standpoint. So what could it be? You know, so I just gave this idea that more or less, yeah, it can be acceptable. Yeah, that's a Buchenwald. And I failed after, yeah, you have to reach the Buchenwald. You have to play in a way that you can reach the Buchenwald. And yeah, interaction, it's not really, I'm not really focused on this like particular game, like what is like online game or PC games, but I'm using this like interactivity in any media. For example,
Myself?
hello?
So can you hear me well?
Now I can.
Yeah.
It works? Okay.
Yeah, now I can hear you. But the video is stuck, I guess.
Video is stuck.
Yeah, just turn it off and then turn it on again.
Yeah, it's strange. My Zoom application is kind of like stuck.
Your video is again stuck. And can you see me? Is my video working okay?
I see you well, but just my Zoom application is a bit.
Maybe you can use screen sharing now.
No, I cannot because application is totally stuck now.
Why so?
Okay. Is it better now?
I mean, I can hear you well, but I can't see anything. The video is just stuck. Why so?
Hello? Does it work?
Yeah, but I can't see you. Yeah, I can see your screen.
Now you screen. Okay, screen's off. Yeah, maybe I will work directly from the screen. Okay.
So you were talking about your project.
Yeah, that's that project that I did in Weimar. We have like a big festival there, Kunstfest, and one of the biggest festivals actually in Weimar. And I did this work in the frames of this festival, and I was pretty much curious, or pretty much about this like relations actually between the artist and the viewer, because it's kind of also like a dialectic that is that has a lot of tensions, and a lot of with alienations, and pretty interesting field to explore. So, what was this relation between art and what is like the feedback from the audience, and what is the feedback from the artist? Just like all questions. And I did this work. It's like treadmill, but the treadmill is controlled by the public. So how it works? You have the like microcontroller there, and it captures the voice of the clapping, voice of applause. And the faster the applause is, the faster it runs. So I'm, as an artist, supposed to run there and follow this rhythm, dictated by the public. So if someone would clap faster, I really have to run faster. If no one claps, it goes really slowly, and I have time to take a breath and so on. And yeah, kids were really annoying because they clapped and all.
You had to run so fast, right?
Yes, and it was about this how liberal, how liable can artists be on public, and what is this relation, and when it was art, they could see it and they were stopping this clapping, but they are also like having this like seductive element, to try to get the best of me, make me run till the edge. But in Weimar it was okay. In Weimar they are, once they see that it was too much, they are giving up. I did the same work in Frankfurt, and in Frankfurt they're a bit more annoying, they're, because it was like sport halle, like a fitness center or something like this, and I guess they expect something more for me. And
so they wanted you to run faster and faster.
Even I was really trained because I exercised to kind of like this practice of running here every day. But still, it was like and yeah, it's
so in this project, in this work, you were kind of completely controlled by the people around and audience and just random passengers, for example, in case of Weimar, because it was public performance and public action, right? So you just follow their emotions and the way they want to interact with you.
Yeah, I mean, it's about, this idea of how, on what extent you have to sacrifice yourself to get that
Okay.
translation between. So I decided to make this like action online as well. So you have me there. It's also like a game that works on this mic. So you open this page, and you have clap. And once you clap, it will follow you. Okay, it doesn't work because my mic is connected to it's combined with this like inline because it's Zoom call. But yeah, you can just, if you don't want to connect mic, you can just click here as a clap. So the faster you clap, the faster I'm running there, And once you release, I am going slowly. So that's how the real installation worked. And look, wow, I already have like 28,000 claps. Amazing. Because I'm collecting these claps there. You see this number?
Yeah.
It's like, you see? I'm kind of like most applauded artist, I guess. Okay.
So you collect all the claps. From the people,
yeah,
like they interact.
Yes, people they play online. It's every club is like collected.
And is going to happen anything like some celebration if you reach, for example, 50,000 clubs?
Well, what question? No, I will wait for the more clubs, I guess.
Okay.
The more you have, more
Appreciated and ambitious you are.
Yeah, so that's this relation, between art and viewer.
Mm-hmm.
I have done another work on this relation because, okay, to be an artist is already a question. What is it to be an artist in a social environment, and what is to be a public artist in a social environment, for society or. So that was a question. What is a public artist? I also did it in Weimar. I was living in this student dormitory at the time, and there you see my window. You see?
Mm-hmm.
There my window. So I did that. It's also analog installation with the interaction. So how it works? I connected this switcher to the light inside my space. So you could switch light on and off from outside inside my space. So it means when I was at my home, at my living room, I was working or sleeping or whatever. Anyone from outside can control my life, switch on or off.
Mm-hmm.
That's the idea, to be totally open to the public. And what is this, how this seduction, to intervene in someone's private space would work in this sense. It's also sacrifice some kind of your own privacy,
Mm-hmm.
get interaction.
And so random people, passengers could go there and control the light in your room, in your own room. Oh, wow.
Just any bypasser could do that. And at the beginning it was really annoying because, can you imagine, it's 2 hours after midnight and you are sleeping and someone is turning the light on, and it's okay, you turn those, they are turning it on again, and okay, you have to look from the window and go on.
Go away, let me sleep.
With an angry face because they are continuing to do this. And
there was some description, informing people about the project and about this interaction. Okay, so you did this.
It's a little table there. You have in English and in German, and it was during 2 weeks. So I had to stand it during 2 weeks, and when it was over, I was finally I slept the whole night well. But sometimes I was missing it because it was some emptiness.
You got used to it, right?
Yeah.
This interaction while you are sleeping.
Yeah. So that's famous Jakob's Plan 1. It's big because the Weimar is really nice city, kind of with small houses, and you have this big corpus living for, and it doesn't really fit in the architecture of Weimar somehow. Can you imagine this old kind of style of German buildings and big kind of a really geometric piece in the middle of it, big wall, and this relation between Bauhaus and Weimar is also a bit complicated because at the beginning no one liked it, citizens of Weimar were totally against this Bauhaus university there, and I think there is still this like kind of like alienation between students and locals.
Okay.
Between it's still like, you know, students like Bauhaus is like a big bubble inside this vibe, you know, and there is not real much connection between. So it was also like, you know, playing with this tension, you know, student
from the local people, right?
Yeah, and local people, and you know, to make this like connection between these separate parts, let's say, because like who's passing mostly passing there by is mostly locals, and they have this like, you know, kind of like bit tricky face, you know, trying to torture someone there. Anyway, yeah, it was also kind of nice time, and yeah, interaction with public. It's not only myself that I'm trying to put inside this interaction, but it's also like, you know, city elements. It's also like work that I did in Weimar. It's like kiosk. We have like really nice kiosks there, and it's without any function, because, you know, the idea of kiosks was like they had most like political meaning, you know, like to disseminate some political news or information or propaganda. And with this like new media, since they totally don't have any, you know, but the building is there, you know, it's like a little beautiful building, and it has no function, it just stays there. And I try to bring this interaction between, like, you know, because you see the eyes here, and these eyes are from the viewer, you know. If someone is looking inside the glass, there is like a virtual reality glass, it captures your eyes, and your eyes are displayed as a property of this building. But at the same time, you have like a view. It is like virtual reality glass, and that view is from that building. It means it corresponds to this like dimensions of this building. Like it's composed by these two cameras there, and yeah, it's also like exchanging, you know, making bring together that are seemingly separate, you know, from each other, and yeah, see what will happen. And but here another interaction between this like two different spaces is like this work that I did in a Lamberg museum in Duisburg. It's a really beautiful building, actually. It's like a museum of Lamberg, and the whole building is like a big platform, you know. You see like building inside, but Duisburg itself is like a bit industrial city, you know. Like it's not bit, but it's really industrial city, and you have like this really industrial environment, like I said, it's in a way anti-museum environment, you know. Because I think I felt really this contrast, you know, between like museum, you are going inside, you have like this beautiful sculptures there of Lamberg, and outside you have like this like industrial and urban space, and there's also like this tension between those. So I made this work there. It's about two participants. Like I'm jumping outside on the trampoline, and my friend is jumping inside the museum. You see here from the pictures, I guess. So it's like to synchronize these two jumps between each other, because jumping on trampoline, it's like you know, it's like wave. You have like a line going down, line going up, you know, like high and down. But to jump on the space on a on the floor, it's a bit different, you know. You don't have like this line going down, it's like total cut. So it was a bit tricky to synchronize. And it's how the museums is trying to work, you know, like it's about like synchronization of this like space outside and space inside, you know, because yeah, space outside you have it like this reality, tough reality, and inside you are trying to somehow represent or synchronize with it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
This like relation between art and the real world. So you see here how it's and but yeah, I also did some work that is like totally without any interaction. So it's like in Berlin. It's like Herbstfest, like kind of festival there. We have like Gorky Theater in Berlin, and it's like festival that was going in this like Gorky Theater, and we were taking like part there. So most of the works like by my colleagues, let's say, were done inside the space, but I decided to do something outside. So and somehow to sit there appeared so seductive ideas that I just climbed on this pipe and I sit there till they took me down. So the idea was to sit there the whole day, but you know, police and you know, it's about
The police came?
Police came, like, you know, fire department came and
Wow.
there, and
They just asked you why you were doing this, or you got fined?
Psychoanalyticals or something like this. They came to if I was like, you know, okay, was I in love or why I did it, you know?
Uh-huh.
And it was like her story with explanations. But yeah, somehow it ended up that I didn't have to pay anything.
And you didn't have to go to jail.
Yeah. And this boat, it came to me and I just jumped on it finally because I had to, and that's how it ended. But it was a nice experience, you know, like to sit there totally, to create something yours, you know, inside this like really overcrowded space that is like, you know, museum island in Berlin. And I did the same, more or less the same work in Halle. It's like city of Halle. It's like a really beautiful city, and you know, like several artists, they are trying to deal with this like idea of the boat and idea of expeditions, and it just came to me that, you know, I was always like a big fan of Jan-Bastian Anders. Probably he's like great artist, and I have some influence of his works, I guess. So it was the idea to put some act of respect and towards his final artwork, I would say, because he ended his life. He just took one boat, like small boat, and he was aiming like to cross the ocean with his boat, and he just lost somewhere in the ocean. So no one knows what happened with him. So I did this like performance installation there. I stood there from the very morning on this pipe, and I was standing there till I fell, you know, on this bike till I almost like fell asleep. And it was about, challenging myself, what is like, dedication, and what is like a object of memorization, or how to say, what is a statue actually, and what role they have in public, because I don't really like this idea of statue, because it's imposing something like really, they have some big part of imposition, in the public, some ideology or some history or whatever, and there's some part of that individualization in any kind of statue. So I also, it was also like the idea to make a statue that is like totally based on your individual strife, or feelings. So finally I just felt there. But it was also like tough experience, to stand there. I think I was standing like for 4 hours or something.
4 hours? Yeah, that should be very tough. Can we see you now, Vasil?
Okay. Yeah.
Maybe you can stop this screen sharing.
I think something wrong with my camera.
Hi, Vasil. You are back. Okay, I think we can kind of sum up our conversation and your presentation. Thanks a lot.
It was like planned to speak about the games, but I think I spoke more about something else than games.
Yeah, you spoke about public interaction and interactivity, which is so well connected to the word game, because the word game does not necessarily refer to, the game in terms of some video games or whatever, because a game is a very general word and it can have so diverse connotation and meanings and so on. But the way you are you've been trying through your project capture the attention, because you mentioned this word attention many times, and it's one of main aspects as far as I understand from